Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to an impromptu video. I just came back from the city center, something that I actually never do, but I had a dentist appointment to check for my aligners and I said, let's go to the shops and swatch the new Anastasia Beverly Hills palette because it released today at retailers and I wanted it because I thought the color story was really nice. I went in the store, I swatched it, and my reaction to it was very pretty, good formula, but I've seen these shadows before. They're not that special, and there's 2 or 3 shades that I'm not sure I'd use. And I spoke with my friend Mandy on Instagram, and she was like, yeah, why don't you dupe the vibes? And I think that's a very good idea, especially now that I have kind of reorganized my single eyeshadow collection. I feel like I can do that and enjoy my singles a little bit more. Now, will it be an exact dupe? I don't know, because mainly I'm not sure I kept shades that I wouldn't see myself using, but I think I have close enough dupes right now to this color story, because overall the color story is really nice and it has these warm but grungy eyeshadow neutrals, and yeah, the 2 colors that really did not speak to me were the berry shimmer and the copper shimmer, and then there's a little rosy satin type of shade that is also a little bit like to me. The other more neutral and more brown shimmers were so beautiful. I swatched it on hand and I was like, yeah, this is gorgeous. At this time I didn't want to buy it full price. It's 58 euros at Douglas in the Netherlands, and it's 67 euros on the ABH website, and I think that's because they need to ship from the US and they need to have import fees and VAT paid in advance, plus the dollar is quite strong, so I wasn't gonna buy it from there. But 58 euros is still a lot, and Douglas often does a 25% off sale, I don't know, every month or so. So I definitely decided not to purchase it full price, and then I'm gonna see how I do with my duping the vibes, and I might actually try to dupe it as is and then change things around to what I would like to do and end up with a palette that I want. That's kind of my idea for right now. But I rambled enough, and let me pull you down on my desk and take a look at some singles and what we can pull out for this duping the vibes video. Okay, here we go. Starting from the top of the palette, the first row, there is a shade called Rose Quartz, which is this, what I say, like kind of satiny finish, cool toned rose that I don't think I have in my collection. I can swatch a few things right here. This is, I think, Earth Shine, no, Misty from ColourPop. What else is a similar light rose tone? I don't really think I have anything like it, to be honest. And I also, it is mainly because I don't wear things like this. Here are the rest of my neutrals, let's say, and maybe this is the closest thing because it is not a real like pink. This one is the shade Slightly Crazy by Glamshop, so I'm gonna actually pull that one out. This one you can see has a bit of a rose vibe to it. Then the next one is this berry shade that I'm not convinced I would use, and this is, I think, actually a very close. Maybe the one in the palette is slightly more red than this one, which is Balovi from the Glamshop Remix palette. I have something here, but I think this is too dark. Definitely too dark. It's a little bit pinker than the one in the palette. I don't even know if I should just pull this guy right here, which is Makeup Geek Curtain Call. Actually, yes, it's Makeup Geek Curtain Call, but more sparkly. There's more sparkle than that in the eyeshadow palette, but I don't think I have anything like it. because this one then goes very warm and much lighter. So let's call it with Makeup Geek Curtain Call. Then we move into a cooler toned brown taupe grungy color, which I thought was absolutely beautiful. It's the shade called Haze. I think I have something like that because I've been really into that type of shade lately. Let me think. Is it something like this? Maybe even a little bit brighter and definitely a bit more chunky. No, these are darker. But I think this one actually looks much more like it. And this one is, was it this one? This one is from the 35M palette, or was it this one? I don't remember what I swatched. Truffle Glitter from Anastasia Beverly Hills. Is that what I swatched? Yes, I think so. Yes. 2 times the same one. Just checking, just checking. So it's Truffle Glitter by Anastasia Beverly Hills, I think is the one. I can still look at this one, for example. This is also a good contender for that shade in the palette. And this is Frozen Brown by Glamshop. And then other options that I have are also these guys from Glamshop, which are the crystal eyeshadows. But I think these have a much higher shine. But this actually looks, this maybe looks even closer. So let's take this one out. It's called Scapolite. I am putting the eyeshadows in this palette right here so that I can keep them separated. Next up is this bright copper eyeshadow, and I was not super enthusiastic when I swatched it, mainly because it reminds me of something that I would have worn quite some time ago and that I don't wear anymore, so I don't even know if I have a proper dupe for it. But it was quite a bright, I think deeper than this copper. Not as orange as this. Kind of makes me think of something from Makeup Geek that I used to have. Maybe this first one that I swatched could have been an option. These are all too orange. And this one right here is, I think, a bit too rosy of a shade. I don't think I kept any of this type of shades. And to be honest, I already sold and sent all of my shades that I didn't save. I don't think there's anything here. No, this is a holo even. I don't think there's anything here that comes close. So really I'm left with these shades right here. No, this is deeper. It was really like a bright orangey copper. So I'm gonna take this shade right here that I swatched, the first one, which is Syrup by Glamshop. And as I said, it's not a shade that I actually wear a lot. It's very bright copper for my taste, and I was actually quite surprised because I thought it was going to be a much grungier type of palette. The next shade in the palette is a matte with glitter, which, why are we doing matte with glitter in 2022 still? I don't understand. But I'm gonna pull in a matte for that. And let's see, it's quite a warm biscuit shade, but it's not that warm. I think this one is close. Maybe not as close on swatches compared to what it was in the pan. This is darker for sure. I think I would pull this one for that shade. And it's the shade Freckles by ColourPop. And then the last shade on the first row is a beautiful greeny bronze. It's called Nova. And I think I wanted to see how this looked compared. I have this one on my eyes today. This is, I think, Old Gold. Yeah, from Glamshop, but no, this one has too much of a red base for it. That one really was beautiful and quite complex green bronze. Let me see if I have something in my green palette. If you missed my eyeshadow declutter and reorganization, go watch it. I think it's very, very long videos, but I enjoyed doing them a lot. And I personally enjoy decluttering my collection a lot. This is too green still. This one could be it, to be honest. It's quite a complex shade. This is a marble eyeshadow from Glamshop that is called Koszary, and it's from the Camo palette. I'm gonna put that one in. It is just as special as, if not more special than that one. And I think that is the one for that shade. It's a beautiful, yeah, greeny bronze. That was, I think, my favorite shade in this palette. Next up, we have a sparkly light shade. Swatches I've been finding actually make it look almost white, but to me it looked a little bit like a very pale, cool yellow. And I don't think I have something really that close to that shade, not in my yellow palette. Maybe up here something. This could be it. Wait, I don't know what I swatched. No, the first one was much closer and a little bit more neutral. Now we can see them better. So that was this one. Oh my god, I keep digging my nails into these eyeshadows. This is also gorgeous. But it has a point of pink that I don't think fits. And this is Splash by Glamshop. And that is this shade right here. The texture of these in the palette were really, really good. Really nice and chunky and sparkly. So that's why I'm pulling on my Glamshop. This one has too strong of a base and too much pigmentation. I could even think of doing Water Dream for this shade. Water Dream has too much of a pink base. And the final option would be this marble shade right here. This could also be it, because I think it's maybe a little bit cooler toned than the other one. This is Kristal by Glamshop, and this one was Splash. I think I really should get a magnetized spatula like Faces by Gina uses, because it's much less messy to pull out shadows from these palettes. Next up is the shade Element, which is another warm bronze shadow. I feel like I had something like this in my Nabla eyeshadows. It also isn't as chunky and sparkly. I think maybe this one could fit well, unless it's too pink. This could be an option, but I would like it even more brown and neutral than that. Or I would like it. I think it is more brown and neutral than that. But I might have just decluttered all of those shades, because they're not shades that I would use. This one is too neutral. And I don't think it's the right dupe for it. I think the closest thing I have is this brown shade, which is from the 35M palette, Hot to Trot, which is this brown that I swatched right here. I think I'm somewhere, the actual shade is somewhere in between these two. A little bit more brown than this shade and a little bit less brown than this one. But I'm gonna put that one in for this purpose, because the other one I think is way too pink. Then we have two mattes, Ashes and Dune. And Ashes is more of a cooler tone, taupe, mauve, not taupe. And I think it's a bit more neutral than that. And I think it's a bit lighter than that. It would probably be similar to this shade, actually. which is Oolong from which is Oolong from Neve Cosmetics right here. Let me swatch a few other things next to it, but I think that these go into a, they don't think they have the point of pink that that shade has. And this I think is too gray, yeah. So actually I think yeah, it's probably a little bit lighter than this shade here, but I will call this one in. This is Chic Happens by ColourPop. By the way, I just saw that ColourPop restocked a lot of their single eyeshadows to do BYOPs, so if that's something you're interested in. The next shade is Dune, and Dune I swatched and it has this beautiful, beautiful warm brown, but it has a depth to it that is actually probably exactly like this so far, as far as I can remember. It had a beautiful depth to it. I think it's actually pretty much the same as Cabin Fever by Makeup Geek. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. I was super happy with it when I swatched it, but I literally think it's the same as this. Wow, okay, that went quickly. That was one of my favorite shades in that palette. Then we have the shade Nocturne, and I wonder if I have something like that. It was a very dark shade with sparkle. Maybe like Truffles Glitter that we swatched earlier. But I think this one has still too much sparkle. Or it was really, really dark. Maybe closer to this. But actually this one is cooler tone, so actually works better for this shadow that was there. And I think this guy leans a bit too, or not. Actually, this looks quite similar. It has a little bit of green sparkle to it that I don't think the ABH one had. And this one is from the 35M. It's Sheen Stealer. I'll put that one in. And then finally, the last one is a matte brown. I must say, I don't remember the undertone of that brown. So I'm gonna have to go a bit with my gut with it. I think it was quite warm, but I don't know how warm. Like, is this one probably a good dupe for it? This is then Dark Roast by Makeup Geek. I know this is not super useful of a video for you if you want to buy dupes of, or like if you want to have dupes of this palette, because a lot of these shades are either discontinued Makeup Geek like Dark Roast and Cabin Fever, or some depotted eyeshadows from palettes. But the point of this video is telling you, go take a look at your eyeshadow collection and see if you can dupe it, because I think I did quite a decent job. I'm not 100% about this shade. I think it was a different coppery tone. And now it reminded me that I still have this shade from Makeup Geek that is probably a much better dupe than this one. Yeah, I think this Makeup Geek one is better. So there goes my beautifully round pan. This is Legend, but this is more like it. Yes, definitely, because it really was more copper and less orange than what I had pulled out. So now this is now closer to what the Anastasia Beverly Hills palette is. So I am quite happy. What I want to do now in the coming period is to wear this tomorrow probably, and see if I would purchase a color story like this. What happened last year with the NARS palette, this one right here, is that I made a dupe palette and then I wore it so much that I decided to buy it. So that's how that went, and I want to see if I will have the same feelings with this one. Now, if I could change something here, is probably get rid of these two more pinky shades, and even there I chose quite non-pinky undertones. I think the berry shade in the palette is much more pink than what I have, the shade Royal. At least the shimmer, the sparkles in it pulled very pink on my swatches, and that is a little bit where it went wrong for me. and this shade right here in the palette is also a bit pinker than I like it. So I would probably take these out and put more like grungy shades and with interesting shifts. I've been really loving these shades right here that I've been using from Glamshop, and as you can see, they're warm, but they have an interesting shift, and I've been really loving using them. They're Headliner, Old Gold, and this one is Golden Olive by Colored Rain. They're super interesting eyeshadows, and I have been loving using them. So I would rather put something like this. How can I show you the shifts? Put something like this in my palette than these pinky tones. But that, I mean, I didn't choose the palette or like these type of shifty shades. It's fine. I still think the palette is a good release for Anastasia Beverly Hills. I still think the quality of it is really good, and I'm happy they did that. I just don't know if it's the palette for me. So I'm gonna use this palette that I made with my Duping the Vibes, and I will let you know if it's something that I use constantly and if I want to actually purchase it. Enjoyed this video and it was a little bit useful, at least, to either prompt you to go and shop your stash and dupe the vibes of the palette for yourself, or if you had some other thoughts about the palette, let me know down in the comments below. I'm excited to be using my singles again now that there's way less of them, even though today I actually had a feeling of, ooh, I lost a lot of my choices and things like that, but that's because I shouldn't be keeping singles just to dupe the vibes of palettes, because who knows how many palettes I'll be duping in my life when I have 3 small children. So we will see. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll talk to you in the comments and see you in my next video. Bye!